Welcome back to Autoimmune Adventures. It's that time of year again, the holiday season. And while the season can be joyful and fun, we also know it can be incredibly heavy, especially for those of us living with chronic illness and autoimmunity. Depression, grief, loneliness, overwhelm, these things don't take a holiday break. In fact, they often get louder. Today, it's just the three of us, me, Alicia, and Becky, and we're opening up a really important conversation about navigating mental health during the holidays with honesty, compassion, and a whole lot of encouragement.
Because this time of year can stir up a lot, right? It stirs up expectations, or maybe old traditions, or family dynamics, or the pressure to be cheerful, or maybe painful memories, or the loss of somebody that isn't with you for the holiday. It can be a lot, and it can come on pretty quickly. So if you're listening and you're feeling that weight, we want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. Today, we're going to talk about the very real struggles and also some of the doable things that we can do to support mental well-being throughout the season.
Yeah. We just want you guys to know that we're here with you, whatever your reasons for feeling various emotions are. We, as good of a childhood as we had, there are still things, whether it's, I know that a lot of us, three of us, have times where we battle perfectionism. And I know as a mom, I have this idea of I have to make the holidays magical. And sometimes I put more stress on myself than necessary. But a big one, emotional wise at this time, is all three of us have lost our parents. And we have very good holiday memories with them. And so it's very bittersweet. And we get it. We get that there are 100 different reasons to have all the emotions, whatever they are. So we just want to know that we want you to know that we're with you for this, and we hope you can get comfy, and let's have some real chat about how we can improve our mental health during the holidays.
Let's start by naming this. The holidays are triggering for so many people, and yet the world acts like everyone should be sparkling with joy. And honestly, sometimes that's just impossible. For people with chronic illness or autoimmunity, it's even more intense. There's all the physical exhaustion that we have, sensory overwhelm that can often occur, and then, of course, the emotional pressure that we always have to push through. So we mask, and we try, and we try, and we mask, and we don't care for ourselves the way that we should. And this isn't even talking about emotional. We'll get to that in a minute. This is just talking about the physical things that we already have on our plate every day, and that are worsened when we have the pressure of the holidays.
Yeah, exactly. And depression around the holidays, it doesn't always look like sadness, right? Sometimes it is just numbness. Sometimes it is indifference. Sometimes it's irritability, and it's fatigue too. I mean, there are so many different ways that depression can manifest. And so keep that in mind. And if you are feeling disconnected from yourself and from your loved ones, that's maybe a sign you need to be taking better care of yourself. Sometimes it's guilt, like Becky was saying, when you are the one that makes the holidays magical. You feel like you should be doing more to make things better, to make them more festive, to make them more fun, to make it more magical, whatever. And it's hard. It's hard to live up to our own expectations of ourselves sometimes.
And as we mentioned before, grief is something that is very real at the holiday season. Obviously, for people with chronic illness and autoimmune disease, we have grief for the body that we used to have, things that we used to do, even traditions that we used to love. Sometimes we are not physically able to do them anymore, and we just don't have the energy to keep up with them. Obviously, there's grief for loved ones lost. There's grief for relationships that have changed. If you've broken up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, or if you've been in a divorce, family that you just can't be with. Maybe your family is still around, but they're far away, and for whatever reason, financial or otherwise, you're not able to see each other. I think that we forget sometimes that holiday highlights loss just as much as it does the joy.
I think it's important to say these kind of things out loud, so that these are not things that are just being silently carried. To our audience, we want you to understand that we get it. We get it. This is not an easy time of year. There are things that we want to love about it, and sometimes we just can't. The guilt of not being able to meet expectations or feeling that loss. And last year we talked about marching up a mountain to get a Christmas tree. And if I had to march up a mountain to get a Christmas tree, I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. It's not something that I can do anymore. And so I think that we just have to acknowledge that there are certain things that are hard, and we have to be willing to accept that difficulty and try and find joy where we can.
And I think that this time of year is so steeped with traditions. And I love that, actually. I think that's a beautiful thing in a lot of ways. But there are a lot of traditions that are not serving me anymore. Whether it's just making too many sugary treats, or whether it is putting so much on my plate that I can't keep up with it all. And that's one of the hardest parts of the season for me personally. I feel like I'm letting people down if I don't attend everything, or if I don't show up energetic and in a good mood, or, you know, like there are some expectations of others. And that pressure feeds right into depression, I feel. And it can also spark anxiety. So try to be gentle with yourself right now. You don't have to get comfortable saying no. Like, you don't have to go to all the things. And I know it's hard to cut stuff off of your list or out of your traditions or whatever, but you can create new healthy traditions. Healthy for your body, healthy for your mind, healthy for your soul. Like, some of these things we have to put a little bit more effort into, because we are so used to doing what we always did for Christmas morning or for whatever. And when it's not an option for us anymore, you can just go without it, or you can find something to replace it, I guess is what I'm saying.
I agree that it is really hard at this time of year to not want to let people down. We want to be able to be there for the people that we love, especially at this time of year. But there's such a thing as sensory overload. I mean, one of the things that I never had a problem with until I had autoimmune disease was sensory overload. I was the life of the party. I was in the middle of the party. I was making the party. And since I have had my different diagnoses, the crowds and the noise and all the rushing and the constant movement that requires you to be 110% all of the time, my whole system goes into shutdown mode. It just about flattens me. So when this happens, then depression can sneak in through the back door, because I start feeling like I can't keep up the way that I used to. And now I feel guilty because I don't want to be at the party. I don't want to be the center of attention. And I do not want to be anywhere near where I have to be brilliant. I just want to hide in a corner, chill with a glass of eggnog, and try and stay out of everyone's line of sight. Because the minute that I get into line of sight, all of my friends, all of the people that I hang out with expect me to bring a certain level of energy and excitement. And I don't always have that anymore to give. So,
and then you're like, I don't have that. I don't have that tonight. Sorry, guys. And then they're like, what's wrong? Are you okay? What's going on? You don't seem like yourself. You're like, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. And so some of us turn into introverts, and we're just happy to stay at home and protect our peace. So
truth. Yeah.
No. I think my biggest struggle is the emotional whiplash of wanting to create a beautiful holiday, and my body just doesn't always cooperate. So I used to be the person who we would jokingly say it looked like Christmas exploded at my house, because I've never been the, fancy, like Better Homes and Gardens kind of color coordinated decorations. Our tree is very mismatched. We do special ornaments for our kids every year, so it's a different ornament every year that has something to do with something they accomplished for the year. So it's just a bunch of everything. But then I have like a Christmas village that I like to set up, and I collect nativities. I have nativities I like to set up, and all the things. And I've just gotten to where I don't have the energy to do that. And sometimes it helps if you ask your loved ones, because sometimes things matter to them, but sometimes things that maybe matter to you. Like my kids like decorations, but for them, really, when I talk to them, it's like, hey, as long as we've got the tree up, we're good. You know, like they're pretty chill about it. My idea, if I had to turn everything into Christmas all over my whole house, that was just me. And so that was an idea I had to let go of. And because it's something I enjoy, I just do what I can. And so like I might have something festive in my kitchen, but if I don't get it all the way, if I don't get the festivity all the way upstairs, that's okay. Like I've just learned to accept to do. And it is honestly different every year, my level of what I can handle doing. And I've just learned to do what I can handle.
I think that you made a really good point there, a tip that everybody should take away. If you are, especially if you are a parent, I did this last year. I haven't done it this year. I need to. You ask people what they care about. Ask your family, what are the things that you care about? What are the things you don't want to let go? What are the things we need to prioritize this season? Whether it's traditions or decorations or whatever it is. So I did that last year, and I will be doing it again because this is coming at a good time for me. Today was the day that like all of the heaviness of the holidays settled on my shoulders today, realizing that we have, only a few weeks till Christmas, and I'm the one that makes everything happen. So it's a lot. And that is one of the huge reasons why depression hits harder during the holidays, is we have these expectations, and it can make our maintaining mental health really complicated. And these expectations are not always from others. They're not always from others. Sometimes they are. You're probably going to have expectations to cook and to show up, or maybe to host, to smile, to get gifts, to perform almost. And like my sister said about like masking, like you sometimes just have to perform, right? And it's exhausting. And those experiences, those expectations, they can bring about depression. They can bring depression symptoms up to the surface.
Another factor is disruption of routine. When you have chronic illness, you have a routine, and that's your survival. That's how you get things done. It's how you keep track of your energy. It's how you operate through life. So suddenly you're traveling, you're eating differently, you're sleeping differently, you're around different people. So our whole system gets knocked off balance. And at this time of year, of course, you're probably likely to travel at some point in time during the holiday season. So I'm going to suggest that you go back and listen to our holiday travel episode we released this year, because it goes through how to effectively travel, how to make it as comfortable and possible as it needs to be, because you can build a routine into your travel and into your holiday season, but you have to be willing to let the people you love know what you need. So that's the biggest thing. Don't disrupt your routine any more than you absolutely have to. There are certain things you're going to have to change, but anything you can keep the same is good.
Don't forget emotional triggers. Being around family or going home can sometimes bring up old wounds or stress dynamics. Or maybe you're alone and seeing everybody else gather, and that is hard. Either way, there's a lot of things that are very emotionally loaded.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out that not everybody's going to have a family dynamic that makes them want to spend the holidays with their family. And I'm just going to go ahead and give you permission to not. I'm going to give you permission to say, I'm choosing inner peace this day, this holiday. That's what I'm choosing. That's my gift to myself for the holidays, is choosing inner peace. And if that means politely as you can bowing out, that's what it means. I had to do that years ago when I was a young mom and we had 5 kids and we lived in the middle of nowhere and all our family was far, far from us. And for my sanity, I could not travel any longer with 5 children during the holidays. I couldn't do it. And you can bet there were some people that were not happy when I put my foot down about it. But guess what? Ultimately, it ended with my family, my little family, creating our own traditions, spending time together, prioritizing each other. We didn't leave the house almost. Like, we had so much quality time with each other that we never would have had. We created traditions we never would have created if we had continued to travel every holiday season to be with family. And I have wonderful family. We all have people we don't want to hang out with, right? I love my family. I love my in-laws. That doesn't make it any less valid for me to make the choice to not travel and spend time with family. That was for my emotional well-being. And if you have really strained family dynamics, you have every right to say, I'm choosing peace this season. I love you. I will see you another time, but I'm not traveling this holiday season. And you don't have to give excuses. You don't have to explain to people. They're going to ask and they're going to want them, but you don't owe an explanation to people. You can just be honest and say, you know what, for my mental health, I'm not going anywhere this season. And anybody that tries to argue with that, nah.
If you look at the fact that there's a lot going on that triggers depression, for instance, there's shorter days, there's less sunlight, it's cold for many of us if we're not living in the Southern Hemisphere. It's cold this time of year. And so it's a perfect storm for seasonal depression. And at a time of year where you're already juggling everything we've already discussed, the actual physical demands of the world that we live in at this time of year can also really, really cause problems for you. So grant yourself some grace and do what's best for you. Do what's best for you.
I find for me, the holidays generally feel overwhelming, but I don't get seasonal depression until after the holidays, when all of the fun and the beauty and the glitter and the togetherness, all of that is wrapped up. And you don't have anything to look forward to when you live in Minnesota for January, February, March, probably a good 4 months before you're going to feel like it might possibly be spring. So I think it's okay to give yourself permission to redefine what your holidays are going to look like this year, right now, and think about your mental health following the holidays as well, right? There's a period of time here where it's going to be difficult because of all the things the holidays are involved in. For me, it's worse after the holidays. My body kind of shuts down. Okay, you've performed, you've checked all these things off your to-do list, you're done hosting, and then my body's like, peace out, bitch. And I go to sleep for 2 weeks and I get depressed. So prepare for that. Prepare for that if you live somewhere that is dark and cold and get seasonal depression. That's something to be very aware of. The holidays sometimes can be a bright spot. And when they're over, it's, I have to have something on the calendar to look forward to. Otherwise, winter's the worst for me.
Yeah. And guys, kind of learn what your personal emotional warning signs are. If you start to feel numb, if you're feeling snappy, like overly snappy, withdrawn, or just really overwhelmed, that's your cue to pause. You don't have to push through. And in really severe cases, if you're feeling like you're in a crisis, there are hotlines, there are people to talk to, there are things to do. We will include those in our show notes, and we'll have the crisis hotline on the screen. A lot of times people think that this hotline is just for people who are feeling suicidal, which unfortunately is also something that happens more during the holidays. But it is called a crisis hotline because you don't have to be suicidal. If you're in a mental health crisis, regardless of the type, they are willing to take your call, and it's free, and they're experienced people that can walk you through things.
Let people know what you can realistically handle this season, right? A quick text like, I might have to leave early, or can we keep this low key this year? Can kind of just set expectations in a different place, maybe prevent some emotional fallout. I also think it's incredibly wise to block out recovery time. Treat it like it's part of your calendar. It's part of your schedule. It's an appointment. After every outing, every event, every gathering, whatever, plan some rest for yourself without any guilt.
I love that idea. All right. We talked about travel kits for actual travel, but I want to talk about mental health kits because I think this is extremely important. So you need to sit down and you need to create a mental health kit for yourself. And what is a mental health kit? Well, I'm going to walk you through what that can be. First of all, boundaries that you've committed to. You need to determine these are the boundaries that I've made for myself this holiday season and I'm sticking to them. And you need to set that in stone before you dive into the holiday season because you're going to need to know what the expectations you're placing on yourself and the other people around you are. Then you need some go-to calming activities. What can you do when you get into a bad position or a bad place where you need to calm yourself down and get that nervous system regulated? And my suggestion would be pick your favorite breathing technique, but also maybe, I carry a little bottle of my favorite essential oil in my purse. And when it gets really, really bad, I will pull it out and I will just wave it under my nose a little bit and breathe for a second and just bring myself back to my body. Bringing myself back into my body so that I can pay attention to what it needs and give it what it needs. It's good to have a support person you can text. I have a friend whenever I go to a party that I let her know, hey, I'm going to a party tonight. If I text you, can you call me and make it urgent for me to leave?
I love this so much. I have that with my husband, but it'd be so much better with a girlfriend. I love it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to this party and I want to go to this party because I love these people and I want to spend time with them. But I also know that they're going to want a whole lot more from me than I have to give. So I'll text you when I hit not when I hit my holy crap, I'm about to crash and burn, but when I feel that down play, that moment where your body starts to like slow down and shut down a little. And then I'll text her and then she'll call me and she'll say, hey, I need you. And then I'm like, oh my word, I've got this important thing I need to go do. Bye, I'm out. And then I leave.
I was going to say, I think it also works if you have that emotional support person with you at events as well. Because I know my husband and I are that for each other. I've got my chronic illness that slows me down, but he has a real issue with crowds. Like it is a really hard thing for him. And so we kind of team tag it for each other. His, like you were saying, find something that calms you. His calm is he likes to read. So he has his tablet or a book. And I know that some people might consider it rude in certain times when he pulls it out, but I kind of go to bat for him by saying, hey, this is how he copes with being in a large crowd of people. If he focuses on the book, he can get that out of his head and he doesn't have the anxiety. Likewise, he team tags it for me when I'm just like, oh, I am so exhausted. I can't do this. I mean, the perfect example was that last year we had his office Christmas party. And they had events planned way into the night. And it was very generous. They were paying for things. We were at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, if any of you have ever been there. Wonderful dinner, wonderful things. But they actually included a concert after everything. And the concert didn't even start until 8 or 9 o'clock. And even though the tickets were paid for as part of the thing, we just kind of looked at each other and said, we're tapping out. This is a lovely, generous thing, but physically neither of us are up to this. And so whether that person is on the phone or with you, find somebody that can help you, especially if you have trouble speaking up for yourself, so that you can get out of those things and not overextend yourself.
And plan things a little bit in advance, like have a few easy meals that are on board so that they don't take any thought at all. Okay. Easy meals, something that's a quick grab. Make sure you fill your meds and your supplements before the holiday season so that you know you're covered over all of those times, whether it's because you're traveling or simply because the pharmacy is closed and you're not going to be able to get it. So advance that so you don't have that stress. And then have some comfort items, a few things, whether it's your favorite hot cocoa, or I have a really great neck pillow I love that when I get headaches from just doing too much, makes a huge difference. And I put a little bit of lavender oil on it and the world is a better place. So just those kind of things can make a huge difference in your well-being.
This is my comfort item. I'm not wearing it, but it's a purple comfy. It's a wearable blanket. It's on my lap, but I'm not wearing it. So comfort items are huge.
Yeah,
Love it.
Those are great. Another thing to do is to realize you can create small moments of joy. Like, it doesn't have to be big, crazy things. Maybe you get a little bit of joy from watching a nostalgic holiday movie. Maybe it's just, your one special family recipe or whatever it is that you love to cook. And maybe it's just a short drive or a short walk to look at some holiday lights. Whatever it is, it's cool. Small joy is still joy. It all counts.
Yep. I think another one is to add light. This is huge for me personally. Literal light. I'm talking, I have a happy light I sit in front of. Sunlight is the best choice if you can access it. Like, I can't access it here all the time. You can ask my family. If I am awake, every light on the floor that I am on in the house is going to be on. I want light on. I want lamps. I love candles. I love creating warm spaces. I love the lights of the Christmas tree, and it can have a powerful effect on your mood. It does on mine. So open the blinds in the morning, whether the sun is out or not. Open the blinds, step outside if you can, when you can. And if you can't get outside, get yourself a happy light and use it religiously. Use it as if it were medication. Okay? Every day, religiously. It makes a difference. I couldn't explain scientifically how. There's scientific explanation. I can't give it to you, but it works. It works.
And let's just say this one more time clearly, guys. If your depression feels heavy, persistent, or scary, reach out for professional help. Don't wait. There is no shame in needing support.
Right. And that can be talk therapy. It can be trying a new medication. It can be online support groups, peer support. I think online support groups can be really helpful right now, because if you're not traveling and if you are isolated and you're lonely and you're sad, there are people on online support groups who are probably in that same exact position as you. So reach out. These are all parts, these are all like a toolbox, little things you can add to your toolbox, your mental health kit, if you will. And you don't have to carry the holidays alone.
If you're listening today, we hope that you have felt seen. The holidays are complicated, beautiful, they're messy and emotional, and that's okay. It's okay. We hope that you can find some peace and some light during this season of light, and that you can find some modicum of joy. But if that feels too hard, just settle for peace.
And protect your peace. Honor your body, honor your limits, and know that you deserve a holiday that feels safe and supportive.
Thank you for spending time with us. From the three of us, we are sending you warmth, care, and permission to do the holiday your way. We'll see you next time on Autoimmune Adventures. Remember, you are worthy of joy. Disease does not define your life. You do.